Welcome to day 6 of our mindful movement challenge. Today we're focusing on strength. So yesterday we focused very much on stretching, which appears to be the reason most people think they need to do yoga. And there's a lot of research that yoga is not just about stretching, it's about strengthening yourself physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, whatever else you want to say, and building resilience not just in your body but also in your mind. So we're building support around the joints, increasing our muscle tone and also our mental resiliency. So take a deep breath, get your comfy pants on, meet me on the mat. Okay, we're starting today's practice in Sukhasana, our easy, comfortable seated pose. And as always, let's just softly close our eyes for a moment. Lengthen up through the spine, allow the crown of the head to be up towards the ceiling or the sky if you're practicing outside. Engage the tummy muscles, but release the pelvic floor here. And relax the shoulders away from your ears. Let's take a nice deep breath in when you're ready, and we'll just sigh the breath out today. Nice strong breath. Deep breath in, sigh the breath. One last time, deep breath in. Embrace your inner warrior and sigh the breath out. Lovely, and then gently flicker open your eyes. Okay. As I said, embrace your inner warrior today. This is all about building strength throughout the body. We're going to move mindfully and really slowly in each of the poses that we do today so that we can make sure we're engaging the right muscles and really building the strength where we need it. But let's just have a little warm up of the neck and the shoulders. So take a deep breath in, take the chin up towards the ceiling, lengthen out through the front of the throat. Keep the spine nice and tall. As you exhale, tuck the chin into the chest. Just making the movement as large or as small as you'd like. Inhale the head up and exhale back down. Just be very careful if you do have any cervical neck injuries. When the neck just comes back down to the chest, just rotate it really slowly around to the right, all the way up to the ceiling, and exhale round to the left. And we'll just gently rotate around the other way. So inhale round to the left and exhale, releasing, coming back to the chest. Okay, bring your fingertips to the front of your shoulders, the thumbs to the back. Really lift out through the spine still. Bring the elbows together in front of you. Lovely big circle rounds. Inhaling the arms up. Exhaling down. You can hear my lovely shoulder clicking again. Lovely. So there shouldn't be any pain throughout your yoga practice. The lady I've just done some training with, Christine Weber, has said no pain is what we should experience in yoga. So movement is slow and mindful, and if there's any discomfort, either make the movement smaller or just stop altogether. Beautiful. Let's take the left hand down to the ground, rise the right arm up, and we'll gently float over. If there's any discomfort in the shoulder, you can just glide the arm up the side or just bring the hand to the shoulder. If you have full range of movement, you can take the shoulder up and overhead. So choose your own particular area that you'd like to work today, but just try and find the stretch down the right hand side of your body. Keep lifting out to the left, don't crunch down into it. Keep a little lift there and keep the chest up towards the ceiling. Maybe even taking your gaze up and underneath your armpit. Lovely. Inhale all the way back up. Place the right arm down on the ground. And then either slide the left arm up the side and come into the bend that way, or bring the hand to the shoulder, or float the arm up and overhead. Just make sure that both sit bones are still connected with the ground. You're keeping an opening through the right side of the chest, lifting the chest up towards the ceiling and taking the gaze up and underneath. Lovely. Just stay here for a few breaths. might like to close the eyes, just noticing the sensations in the body. And on your next inhalation, float the arms all the way up, and we'll bring the right hand to the left knee and gently twist round. So take the left hand behind you, close towards your buttock, and then we'll twist through the waist, take the left shoulder blade back and gently glance over your left shoulder. Don't creak through the neck here. Just finding that gentle twist through the thoracic spine. Taking deep breaths in, nice slow breaths out. And then softly, softly release, really, really slowly back to centre, and we'll go around the other way. So left hand comes to the right knee. We take the right arm behind. We're using it as a little prop. We're not sinking back into it. Take a nice deep breath in, lengthen the spine. Take the right shoulder blade back, twist through the waist, open up through the chest and the shoulder, and softly take your gaze over your right shoulder. If it's not comfortable for the neck, just take your gaze to wherever feels comfortable. But just trying to find the opening in the front of the chest and the twist through the thoracic spine. So all around the area where your ribs are. It's not a very mobile area to move. It's nice and static to keep all our internal organs protected. And softly and slowly coming all the way back to centre and releasing. Let's take both knees behind. Making our way really slowly into our tabletop position. So this tabletop position should be familiar with you now, but always remember to protect the hands here. Press into the fingertips, the knuckles, all four corners of the hands. Try and keep the weight out of the wrist. If you do have any wrist issues, you can always come up onto the knuckles into gorilla arms. Okay, press the tops of the feet into the mat as well. Let's just warm up a little bit with our cat-cow pose. So take the tailbone up towards the ceiling, lift the chest and look up. Keep the engagement of the core muscles here. Don't allow the tummy to sag. As you exhale, roll the tailbone under, roll up through the spine and tuck the chin into the chest, pressing away from the ground with your shoulders, hugging the tummy in. Inhale up and exhale, release. You're having a sway from side to side if that feels nice. Okay, we're going to inhale, come into our little cow pose. Next time when we exhale, we're going to float the hips back onto the heels, coming into child's pose. Inhaling, rolling up through the spine, lifting the chest and looking ahead. And exhale, rolling through the spine, taking the hips down to the heels. Inhale up, exhale down. Lovely. Inhale up. You can stay with your child's pose, or this time on your exhale, tuck the toes under, lift the hips, press into a gentle downward dog. Okay, so when we come into downward dog, you can stay in child's pose if this is too much. Press the weight evenly between your hands and your feet. Shoot the sit bones up towards the ceiling. Take the shoulders away from your ears and your gaze goes towards your knees. Hug the tummy in really tightly to protect that lower back. And find a nice length through the spine. Lovely. On your next inhalation, we're going to float the knees down to the ground. Lift the chest and look up. And your choice here, you can go back into your child's pose or you can press back into your downward dog. And we're just going to flow here a few times, building lovely strength all the way into the shoulder girdle, into those hips, into the spine, into the core muscles. Exhaling and floating the hips up. Lovely. One more time. Inhale, lift the chest. Just arching through the spine. Exhale, lifting the hips up. Lovely. Inhale, lower the knees to the ground here. Keep the toes tucked under. Walk your hands in towards your knees. Just sit back on the heels a moment and just take a moment to release off the wrists and stretch out the bottom of your foot. 2 for the price of 1. Okay, clench and flex the hands a few times and then make your way back down to your tabletop position. Now, if you get cramp in your feet, typically when we come into a position where the toes are untucked, you can keep your toes tucked under here. Okay, if not, if you're okay and not crampy, bring the tops of your feet down onto the ground. Really press away from the ground here. Shoulders are away from the ears. Hug the tummy in, lengthen through the tailbone. Now press really firmly into the tops of your feet and see if you can get your knees to hover 1 inch from the ground. Claw into the mat with your fingertips. Lovely. Exhale, lower down. Have a moment in child's pose if that feels nice. Inhale, float back. And we'll do that nice hover again. So pressing into the tops of the feet, hug the tummy and press away from the ground with your shoulders. Lift the knees. Don't forget to breathe. Breathing in, breathing out, having a little hover here. Exhale, gently lower, sink the hips back for a moment into your little child's pose, and then inhale, float back. This time, everybody tuck your toes under. On the next inhalation, we're going to press away from the ground, hug the tummy in, lift the knees, coming into that hover again, building lovely strength through the core muscles. And as we exhale, bring the hips up into your downward dog. And then releasing the downward dog, we're going to walk the feet up towards your hands. Bend the knees if you need to. Make it a lovely journey. Doesn't matter how many steps you take. And come into a little forward fold at the front of the mat. Lovely. Okay, take the feet together. So squeezing the feet, the ankles, the calves, and the knees. You can have a nice big bend into your knees here. Just relax the neck for a moment. And press the hips up towards the ceiling into our little forward fold that we've done a few times here. Sucking the tummy in, pressing the chest onto the thighs. Okay, on the next inhalation, keeping the engagement of the legs squeezing together, I'm going to put a lovely big bend into the knees. As we inhale, we're going to float the arms up and overhead, but keep the knees bent, coming into chair pose. That was a nice surprise for you. Take the weight backwards. Lengthen through the tailbone here, so don't stick the tummy out, the bottom out. Lengthen through the tailbone, hug the tummy in, lift the chest. If this is too much with the arms lifted, bring them back into prayer in front of you. And imagine you're about to sit down on a chair behind you. So your choice. If you want to build a little bit more strength, take the arms up a little bit. Don't crunch the shoulders up towards your ears. Sink down through those knees and let's breathe. We're going to take 5 breaths here. Squeeze the knees, the inner thighs, the ankles, the calves together. Hug the tummy and lengthen through the tailbone. Deep breaths in. Deep breaths out. One more time. Deep breath in. And out. And on the next inhalation, floating the arms up, straightening those legs. And exhale, gently release the arms down by the side. Oh, that's woken you up, hasn't it? I should have probably said this is probably not the practice to do just before you're going to bed, but you can always take Shavasana at the end of class for a little bit longer to prepare you for your sleep. Okay, we're going to do chair pose one more time. So bringing the feet together, lifting out to the front of the body, lengthening down the back of the body. Keep that tailbone tucked under, the tummy hugged in. Inhale the arms up towards the ceiling. As you exhale, take the weight backwards. So the weight is in your heels. You can lift your feet and sit down in your little imaginary chair, hugging the tummy in, keeping that spine nice and strong. Do bring the hands into prayer if this is too much. And take a rest whenever you need. Listen to your body, move mindfully. Make sure you can lift your toes from the ground. The weight is far enough backwards into the feet to keep the knee joints protected. One more deep breath in. As you exhale, we're going to fold down over the legs, bring the hands to the ground and step back into a nice tall kneeling position. Okay, let's just do some mini mountain flows. So as you inhale, rise the arms up, keep the tummy engaged, keep the tailbone long. As you exhale, float your forehead down towards the ground and the hands come to the back, to the lower back. Lovely. Inhale, rise. Exhale, lower. Inhale, rise. Exhale, lower. Last time, inhale. As you exhale, lower the arms down by the side. I'm going to step the right foot to the front of the mat. Now, depending on how flexible you are, and you would have had a good gauge of that in your stretch class yesterday, you might like to step the legs slightly further forward so you get a nice stretch into your left hand hip flexor. If you're not feeling quite as flexible, just bring the knees slightly in so you've got a nice tall upright position. If you want to include a stretch, just take the foot slightly further out in front. Okay, lift the chest. So imagine you're taking the lower ribs away from the hips. Roll the shoulders up, back and down. Engage the inner thighs. So squeeze the inner thighs together, pull up the pelvic floor and hug the tummy in towards the spine and the tailbone down the back of the body. So I'm really moving mindfully and with control. We're going to bring the hands, the hands should have been on the knee there. We're going to inhale the hands all the way up and overhead. Stretch the sides of the body up towards the ceiling, hug the tummy in, lengthen through the tailbone. If you're feeling comfortable with your balance, take the gaze up towards your hands, but don't crease through the back of the neck. Lovely. Keep the engagement of your muscles in your legs, squeezing them together so that the pelvis stays in alignment. It's a little bit like your right hip is coming back, the left hip slightly forwards. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, take the right arm forwards, the left arm comes behind, and we stretch the fingertips away from us, opening up through the front of the body, strengthening the muscles in the back of the body. Keep that tummy engaged. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, bring the hands all the way back to center. And then inhale, rise the arms up towards the ceiling again. Really lift out of that front of the body, hugging the tummy in, lengthening through the tailbone. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, take the left arm forward, the right arm comes behind. So we've got stability and strength in our legs here. And then inhale, float the right arm back to meet the left. Bring your hand back to your hip and step your right foot back. Okay, so you might feel that you're building up a little bit of heat through the body here. That's absolutely fine. Just make sure you can breathe. Continue to breathe nice and deeply throughout the practice. Okay, let's do the left side. So step the left foot forward wherever is comfortable for you. And I should have said I am terrible because I'm on carpet. If you need to put a blanket under your knee, please put a blanket under your knee. Okay, just sink the hips down if you've taken the hips slightly, legs slightly further wide. Okay, lift up through the ribs. Lift the chest, roll the shoulders up, back and down, hug the tummy in, lengthen through the tailbone. So make sure you're nice and stable here. As we inhale, we're going to float the arms up towards the ceiling. Lifting out to the front of the body, lengthening through the back of the body, squeezing those inner thighs together, hugging the pelvic floor up and the tummy in. Maybe taking the gaze up towards your hands if you feel stable and strong in this pose. Lovely. Really press down from your left foot so you can feel the thigh engaging. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, take the left arm forward, the right arm comes behind. We stretch the fingertips away, but we keep the core muscles engaged. Hug them in towards the spine. Really stretch those fingertips away. Relax the shoulders down the back. Open up through the chest. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, float the right arm back to center. And then we'll exhale the left arm. I might have got my breathing wrong then. Do apologise. Okay, sink down through those hips, lengthen through the tailbone, Hug the tummy in, stretch the fingertips away. Taking the gaze behind if that feels nice. Inhale, come all the way back up to center. Bring the hands to your hips and very slowly step the left foot back into your tall kneeling position. Transition really slowly and mindfully now down onto your tummies and walk the knees back. So you're laying flat on the floor. Stack your hands underneath your shoulders. Roll the shoulder blades up, back and down. Squeeze the shoulder blades together and hug the elbows into the side of your body. Allow the pelvis to be pressing into the floor and the tops of your feet to be pressing in the floor, but make sure there's a micro bend in the knees. Imagine you're pressing the backs of your thighs up towards the ceiling. Forehead comes to the mat for the moment. Okay, so make sure those shoulders are engaged, the elbows are hugged in, you're pressing into the tops of the feet, the thighs are engaged. On a big inhalation, lift the head, the chest, and then see if you can lift the hands from the ground, sucking them into the sides of the body. Hug the tummy in. Keep those thighs engaged. Press your feet into the ground and breathe. Lovely. So we're coming into a lifted cobra pose, building lovely strength into the back of the body, all the lovely erector spinae muscles down the spine. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, gently, gently relax. Just bring the forehead down for a moment. We are going to do that again. So let's roll the shoulders up, back and down. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Open up through the front of the body. Hug the elbows into the side. Press the pelvis into the ground. Suck the tummy in. Lift the thighs, but with a micro bend in your knees. Press the tops of the feet into the ground. On an inhalation, lift the head, the chest and the hands, and breathe. Keep all those muscles engaged, building strength all the way down the body. Lovely. Embrace your strength here. Breathe in, and as you exhale, gently, gently release. Make a cushion with your hands. Bring the big toes together, heels out to the side, and gently rock from side to side. Lovely. Okay, place the hands underneath the shoulders again. Press all the way back up. Take a moment in child's pose, just a little counter pose for that back bend. Whichever child's pose you like. You can have arms extended at the front. You can slide them down the side. You can have a little sway if you like. Okay. Let's float back upwards to our tabletop position. And we're going to walk the hands about a foot in front of us. You guessed it, we're coming into plank pose. Okay, so when we come into plank pose, it's like a push-up position. You can do this with your knees on the ground if this is strong enough for you already. Make sure you're clawing those fingers into the ground and really pressing all four corners of the hand in. Lift the shoulders away from the ground, hug the tummy and lift the chest. Now you can stay on your knees, or if you'd like, tuck the toes under, lift the hips and make sure the spine is straight from the crown of your head all the way down to your tailbone. Really suck the tummy in, lengthen through the tailbone and breathe. Remember to claw the mat with your hands. Hug the tummy and lengthen through the tailbone. Press the hips away, the thighs away from you. Keep a micro bend in the knees. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, lower the knees to the mat. Sink back down into your child's pose. Beautiful work today, everybody. Okay, I'm going to treat you to a little Shavasana today. So making your way onto your backs. You can do this with the bent knees. You can extend the legs out in front. So take the feet nice and wide apart. Take the arms away from the body. Almost imagine you can get a little bit of air into the armpits. Roll the shoulder blades under a little bit to open up through the chest. Tuck the chin in towards the chest to lengthen out through the spine. And just wiggle the toes for a moment. Let go of any tension in the ankles. Let go of any tension in the knees and the hips, and relax the buttocks. Release the lower back, the middle back, the upper back. Allow both of your shoulder blades to just melt down into the mat. Relax your elbows, your wrists, and give each of your fingers a little wiggle. Bring everything to stillness. Relax the back of your neck, the back of your head, and the crown of your head. Relax and soften all of the muscles in your face. Allow your whole body to be soft, to be supported by the ground. Maybe a feeling of heaviness. Being aware of all the points of your body in contact with the floor. Just let yourself be heavy and relaxed. Take a nice deep breath in when you're ready. Or you can stay in Shavasana for 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes, however you like, and relax. For those of you that want to finish the practice, just bring a bit of movement back to your toes, your fingers, your hands and your feet. And on a big inhalation, bring the legs together, stretch the arms up and overhead. Stretch out through the right hand side, through the left hand side. And then we'll bring one knee in towards the chest, followed by the other. And gently rock from side to side. Lovely. Roll onto the right hand side of your body. Press yourself up to a comfortable seated position. Back into Sukhasana. Sitting up nice and tall. Just allow the eyes to close for a moment. And taking a moment to embrace your inner warrior, your strength, physically, emotionally and mentally. And then we'll bring our hands together in prayer. Gently bow the head. Namaste.